So what is a tax sale auction? How on earth does that thing work? This is attorney Bob Diamond. I'm here to give you the insider scoop on tax sale auctions because I bought my first property at tax sale auction in 1989. So I'm like a tax sale dinosaur. I've been doing it since then, and I want to give you the scoop so that you avoid the mistakes and take advantage of the opportunity. So tax sale auctions, which I'm going to refer to, are tax deed auctions where they're selling ownership to the property. That's done in about half the country. The other half of the country sells something called tax liens that don't give you ownership of the property. I talk about that in other videos, so if you want to learn about those, just search through my channel and you'll see all kinds of things about tax liens. But today we're going to talk about tax deed sales where you're getting ownership of the property. So what causes this? How does this come about? When someone doesn't pay their real estate taxes for 3 to 4 years, the county needs to collect that money and they will do what they need to do, which is primarily offer that house for sale free and clear of any mortgages and other liens in most states other than the state of Pennsylvania. And again, if you want to know about Pennsylvania, just search on my channel. I go over Pennsylvania tax sales, which are a different kind of cat. But for everywhere else, those properties are sold free and clear of mortgages and other liens. So they can be really attractive to an investor because you're getting properties where the opening bid starts at the taxes that are past due. And typically, if you're talking about 4 years worth of taxes on a $400,000 property, kind of average house in America, you're probably talking about a $50,000 tax bill, which means a $50,000 opening bid on a $400,000 property. Those are the kinds of numbers that are available in these sales. Now, of course, if it's competitive, which most sales, but not all sales are, if it's competitive, it's going to get bid up, probably to 70 to 80% of its as-is value. But just think about that concept for a second. The opportunity to buy a house for just a couple of years worth of taxes. It's amazing. So there's some amazing bargains at tax sales. I mean, I've bought properties at tax sale, like this one that you see on Chain Street in Norristown. I bought a tax sale for $12,000. And even at the time, it was one of the first properties I bought, but even at the time it was worth $60,000. And that's what we've resold it for. So there's some really good deals out there. But I would say that tax sales have a lot of risk factors that the uninitiated just need to be informed about, and you need to really know what you're doing before you bid on these things. And let me give you the rundown of what those kinds of problems are. Number one, occupants. When you have someone in that house, the county doesn't evict that person for you. They don't do a darn thing about it. It's up to you to either talk them out, give them some cash for keys, like give them some money to get an apartment, to get moved, or you can hire a lawyer and do something called an ejectment action, which is kind of a fancy eviction. And ejectment actions can take 4 to 6 months. And at the end, you generally have to hire a bonded mover to go in there with boxes, pack everything in the house up, put it into storage for a month, all at your expense. So my budget for ejectment actions is $10,000 to $15,000 by the time all that's done. So fine, if you bought the house for $50,000 and it's a $400,000 house, that's a great deal, right? Still a great deal. But you need to make sure that you're not, buying that house for 90% of retail and thinking it's great. It's not great because you have other expenses. The other problems you have are often these properties have non-marketable title. Now, what on earth does that mean? Well, marketable title is a term we use in the legal world to say that it's a title that's free and clear of things like mortgages and judgments and things like that a person would normally buy. Now, it's not the same as completely free and clear title because all properties have some title restrictions on them. Just for example, things that don't bother you, like the power company has the right to run their lines across your land so they can get a power from the pole to your house. So they have an easement which allows them to go up and maintain their line. Those kinds of things are on all properties. Nobody cares about them. That doesn't affect you. But in properties at tax sales, you often don't have proof that notice was given to mortgage companies and other lien holders and all the owners. So oftentimes you can't resell the property to a traditional retail buyer until you do something called a quiet title action. And a quiet title action is, again, back to the lawyer's office. You go there, typically, 4 to 6 month long process, a couple $1,000, $3,000 or $4,000, where you're getting a judge's order and determination that it is, clear of mortgages and things like that. And that gets you marketable title. So again, with this business, it's not for the uneducated, because if you walk in there uneducated, you can really get your clock cleaned. And so if you're going to be in this business, it's important that you spend time understanding what the playing field is. So how would you do that? First, you would get a course or two to learn from. There's some great people teaching this. I have a friend named Tony that's been doing this business since the 90s. Matter of fact, I did an interview with him. You should go check out if you're interested in this. I'll ask Matt, just put the link up to my interview with Tony where we sat down for 20 minutes and talked about tax sales. Also, put the link down below this video so that you, my viewer, you can check it out. I sat down with Tony for 20 minutes. He has the world's best system for buying properties at tax sales. Matter of fact, he found a way to do it where there's no competition, where there's no other bidders, and where you can just kind of leisurely get whole lists of properties that are available just for the past taxes due. So they have some really amazing deals there, because oftentimes properties don't get bid in on tax sale because there's just an overwhelming number of them. And I'll give you an example. In Pennsylvania, they have something called the upset sale, which is your September tax sale. Those all happen in 1 week in September every year. And it's the entire state. So there's no way that the tax sale bidders can cover all those properties. So a lot of properties get overlooked, and those properties become ones that you can buy after the sale. And Tony has a whole system for doing that across the country that is really terrific, where you're just getting properties that are left over where people didn't buy them, not necessarily because they're bad properties, but just because the volume, they just can't keep up with them. So those can be really amazing deals, and he teaches that. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check out that video. The second thing I want to tell you about tax sales is there's another opportunity. So I do something called overages, and I do this because in my particular tax sale, they've gotten too competitive. There are just too many people bidding, and they're bidding the price up. So for me, my numbers for a property that I was going to buy and fix up and resell, or buy and fix up and rent out, I wanted about 30% off of the retail price minus my fix-up costs. Because for me, to do the work, to take the risk, that's what I wanted. Those are kind of common numbers. That's not uncommon that's what investors' goal is. And I just found that I had bidders that just had a different view of value than I did. They would pay 80-85% of retail. And I just scratched my head. I didn't see any point to it. And it was more than I could afford to pay. So I was like, I'm not going to work on that. So what I found is that when people bid that much money, there's often a lot of money left over after the tax sale. After all, if you're talking about a $400,000 house and say the opening bid is $50,000, and let's say that it sells for 80% of retail, which would be too much for me to pay, but say it sells for $320,000. Well, if the county collected $320,000 at the auction and there's $50,000 that they need to cover the taxes, the difference between those two, which is $270,000, that's available for the former homeowner to apply for and to claim. So the problem is these former owners don't know about this money. They don't know it's there, so they usually don't apply for it. 7 out of 10 times they don't apply for it, so the money just sits with the government. So I made a business out of getting the lists of monies that are being held, reaching out to the former owners and saying to them, hey, I found some money that you're eligible to claim. If you'd like to work with me for a percentage, I'll go and get the money. If I'm successful, I get paid. If I'm not, it doesn't cost you anything, so it's no risk to you. And that's what I do dozens and dozens of times a year. It's a fantastic business. I love it because I get to help people and make great money. And I don't have the drama of buying a tax sale, which I get buying a tax sale, but you're dealing with contractors, you're dealing with cost overruns, you're dealing with lien holders, you're dealing with occupants of properties who aren't happy. So to me, that was not my way of wanting to invest, so I got into overages. What I would say for you is I would check out both things. I would check out the video I did with Tony, which there's a link down below, but also check out my overages video. I did a short 7-minute video where I show you how overages work, and you can do both businesses. There's no reason not to. When you go to the sale, if you get outbid, there's an overage. So you go and you can approach that former owner about helping them get that money and making some profit from that. If you don't get overbid, then you get a great deal. So you actually can work the tax sale from 2 angles. So both those videos are down below. Definitely go and check them out because there's a lot of money to be made at tax sales. And you can be in the overages business like I'm in. You could be buying properties. They both can be great businesses, and there's definitely something in there for everybody. So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. Your next steps from here. Number 1, like this video. If you got through this long, you like it, so just give it a like. Give me the feedback and I'll do more like it. The second thing is, if you're interested in tax sales and overages, definitely subscribe to this channel because this is what I do. I give out information about tax sales, mortgage foreclosure sales, overages, real estate investing, and how you can make money as an entrepreneur today. You know, I've been an entrepreneur full-time since 2005, so for a very long time. I've made millions and millions of dollars, and I'd like nothing more than to share and show you the way that you can get through and efficiently to making money. I'm not saying you're going to make millions of dollars. I have no idea. Maybe make tens of dollars. Who knows? But I do know that I have a lot to share with you based on many, many years of experience, and I'd love for you to be successful and have an amazing life where you're the captain of your own ship, because I think we all should be. I don't think you should be subject to the whims of some employer or your supervisor who's a jerk or anything like that. I think you should just have a great life, and entrepreneurship can be great, and I'd like to share that with you. At this stage in my life, I'm still making money, but I'm also all about sharing and helping people behind me, get a leg up and get through more quickly. So hopefully you enjoyed this. So like it, subscribe, and definitely go watch the two videos. The one on overages, if that's your first priority, or the one that I did with Tony on his sort of secret tax sale method. They're both really great things to do. You can do both, so go check out both. So it's Attorney Bob Diamond wishing you absolutely all the best, wishing you success and happiness and all the best things in life. Like this video, and I'll see you next time.